you've been watching any of my overlanding videos, you'll know I'm back at Reddish Knob in Virginia in the George Washington National Forest. The difference this time is I didn't intend on being here. In fact, I intended to be a long ways away from here in Cherry Springs Park, Pennsylvania. But this is the second darkest place east of the Mississippi, or at least this general area is. Cherry Springs is the darkest place east of the Mississippi. My goal was to take a shot at doing some astrophotography. I haven't done much astrophotography, and it's a special kind of photography. There's a whole set of skills and things that you need to do that are different than normal photography. I wanted to make sure I could focus on the photography itself without having to worry about the light pollution. I came to Reddish Knob because I had been here before and I knew that this place was perfect for astrophotography. Or at least that's what I thought.
In a quarter mile, turn left to stay on State Route 701.
Welcome to Reddish Knob. It's my third time here, and I never realized that, like, literally right where we are here on Reddish Knob is the line between Virginia and West Virginia. And so that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that. But let me tell you a little bit about why I'm here. But first, let me show you the view. Reason I've come to Reddish Knob is it's a new moon tonight, and my original plan was to go to Cherry Springs State Park in Pennsylvania, which is the darkest place, I believe. When I say darkest, I mean as far as light pollution from, surrounding homes and towns and things. And in fact, they even have rules there at the campground that you're not allowed to have in certain places any white light at all. It has to be red light. But it's a new moon, and I'm gonna try and do some Milky Way photography tonight, some astrophotography. And here in the Mid-Atlantic, it's the perfect time of year to do it. That August, September time frame, I think, is that's probably your optimal time for Milky Way photography, and hopefully we'll get something. Cherry Springs State Park, the weather's supposed to be, it's like 90% chance of storms and cloud cover the whole time, so you don't have to be Einstein to realize cloud cover and Milky Way photography, they just don't go together. But this was a spot I knew where I could get almost 360 degree views and see what I can come up with. But it's 1 o'clock now, so I'm just kind of scouting, looking things over. Fly my drone a little bit and see what we can see, and then we'll set up for some astrophotography later.
So over my right shoulder, you might be able to hear the car. This guy, I'm assuming his girlfriend, let's hope. And they pulled up and decided they were going to do their thing, regardless of whether anyone was up here or not. So if that was you, I should put you on YouTube, but I decided not to. All right, let me show you my current setup. I'm on this point where I got views for days. I'm set up for some stars in the Milky Way, hopefully. Maybe catch some on the telescope as well as the cameras.
I see forever when I look in your eyes. A love that is deeper than the blue in the sky. You are my heart, you are my heart, you are my dream come alive, my everything, my like no other. Yeah, I could stay here with you for forever.
Here's some of the results that I got directly out of the camera. I was shooting with the R5 and the R, and I think the first thing that you notice is a grainy image, and if you look closely, you can see banding, circular banding. I don't have any experience really with circular banding, so I had to go looking into what causes that, and typically it's caused by peripheral lighting. That means the lighting around you, not necessarily light pollution off in the distance, but the light directly around you. Most of the evening, up till about 2 in the morning, there were cars coming up to the knob and parking. Now, most of them saw what I was doing and turned their lights out, but they still had their parking lights on, and several times they left their headlights on. And since it's a public place, I can't tell them or expect them to turn their lights off because I'm trying to take pictures, so I tried to work around them best as possible, but there was quite a few of them, and they stayed for a pretty significant amount of time. So it caused that circular banding, and it threw my settings off, and in camera, you couldn't tell it. So I'm gonna have to come up with a strategy to be able to identify that type of thing prior to, finishing the night up, because if I had known I had so many images with banding, I would have kept shooting later into the evening. Now, due to the power of our editing software choices now, I use Lightroom and Topaz, and sometimes I use Luminar Neo, although I didn't use that really. It didn't provide any type of value for these darker images. It usually does a really good job with images that have a lot of color and detail. So I didn't really use that too much on these images, but I definitely pushed Lightroom and Topaz to the extremes trying to correct these images. And while I'm not sure that I would release or post any of them, except maybe the one with the iCamper, I might put that out there and see what people's thoughts are. I definitely learned a lot. Now, I took a 5.5 hour drive to learn a lot, but that was where the darkest skies were that didn't have, stormy conditions going on. So that's the nature of the business. You got to go to where the shots are. To be honest with you, it was the experience of this trip that I'll take with me. There's just something really nice about staring up in a very dark sky. And although the pictures don't portray how dark it was in person, because I'm trying to bring out the Milky Way, it is amazing to look up into a black sky. If you're from the city, you really don't even know what stars look like until you get outside of the city. And so that's even amplified even more when you go to one of these places where there's literally like almost no light pollution. I'm excited to see what Cherry Springs State Park in Pennsylvania has to offer. Pretty similar as far as light pollution on the map, but we'll see how it goes. So hopefully I can get up there next month or two. The Milky Way is still going to have a significant presence in our sky for a couple of months, so I really hope that I can get up there and kind of refine my procedures, nail down my settings a little better, and kind of take the next step into this astrophotography, because there's just something special about kind of removing all of the distractions and just focusing on something that is so magnificent. Well, that's it for me. It's about 1:30 in the morning. Gonna call it a night. Gotta get up first light and get out of here. But man, what a sky. I mean, absolutely beautiful.
Good morning. This is a popular spot because it's so easy to get to for people to come up in the middle of the night. It was a Monday night, and there were people just usually one car at a time or one truck at a time, in and out till like 2 o'clock in the morning, or when I finally fell asleep. There may have been more, but it's hard to say, when I was asleep. But typically, I'm a pretty light sleeper when I'm camping or out like this. And I get a lot of questions about how can you feel comfortable doing this when you're by yourself? I keep protection. That's the best thing I can tell you. I make sure that I'm protected and that I keep protection within an arm's length at almost all times. It just gives me that peace of mind that everything's going to be fine and allows me to concentrate on what I'm there to do. Let's get this thing packed up and get on the road, get back home. It's beautiful up here. Outside of the massive potholes and graffiti everywhere. For a backup plan for some astrophotography, I think it went well. Let's get this Jeep on the road.